r/ask Reddit. What's the dumbest thing you're willing to argue about? I had an argument with some fella earlier today about sour and bitter flavors. He seemed to think that the words were synonyms of each other, but that they meant different things. It was a frustrating encounter. He seemed to think that the words were synonyms of each other, but that they meant different things. Seemed struggling to understand what this even means. I experience the same struggle. My wife asks me where her glasses are. I ask, are they in the bathroom? She says, why would they be there? I'll fight her. Were they in the bathroom? Well, I guess the point isn't if they are or aren't in the bathroom, it's that she doesn't know where they are, but it's absurd for me to start thinking outside the box. They weren't in the bathroom. Dibs. There's a Chicago culture thing called dibs where if you shovel the snow out of street parking spot, you can put old furniture and stuff to save your spot because you did all the hard work clearing it. Some people believe in it. Others think that the street is public property and no person can save anything. This debate gets really heated in the r/Chicago sub. Edit. Actually, this is in a lot of snow belt cities. Same goes for Philly. Reserved with a plastic lawn chair or traffic cone. Winter 2 years ago, my wife took someone's hard-earned shovel spot and I shamelessly told her if her windows were smashed and she might have asked for it. I'm laughing my ass off right now at all these comments because of how serious this is taken. And trust me, I'm on your side. I guess it's just funny because this doesn't happen in the South. No, Sauron was not a disembodied eye. He had a body. I haven't read the books, but I remember reading that somewhere. The movies got that wrong, didn't they? They completely got it wrong in the movies. Disclaimer. They are hands down my all-time favorite movies. That's why I am so critical. The eye wreathed in flame was a symbol of Sauron's oppressive gaze and will. PJ decided to take a literal approach. For better or for worse, the Eye of Sauron is nowhere close to my biggest criticism of the movies. That belongs to the confrontation between Gandalf and the Witch King in Minas Tirith. That part is actually terrible in the movie and I hate it. I am willing to argue about anything, no matter how insignificant, as long as I know that I'm right. No, you're not. Oh, this guy means business. An Easter egg that alludes to another work of fiction does not suggest the two works are in the same universe. It is just a nod to another piece. I'm usually in agreement. The one exception is Dead Munch from SVU existing in the same world as The Wire because it fits his character's backstory so well, even though it's literally a non-speaking cameo in The Wire. Edit. Correction. U/Insomniac 20k pointed out he does have one line in The Wire. But that's just a theory. This really only applies to my wife and me, but we will both agree that our biggest, and in hindsight, the most hilarious, fight was because we decided to argue about where to put the microwave in our kitchen after we moved into our first apartment. We're talking about a multiple day long argument solely based on where to put an appliance in the kitchen. Who won? Where is it now? She won. Edit. I'm sorry, I forgot to answer your second question. We ended up placing it off to the side of the kitchen on a credenza that we purchased soon after we moved in. I have got into 3-hour arguments in the past year about the relative merits of Disney movies. Hot take. Most of the ones that came out before The Little Mermaid aren't as good as you remember, and don't deserve the near unanimous praise they get. Additional hot take. Frozen doesn't do anything that Tangled doesn't do twice as well. The Great Mouse Detective is a delight and a treasure, and I will fight you over it. I said most. I'm on the record as saying that The Great Mouse Detective is an underrated gem. Ian only failed because Diana pulled his baked Alaska out of the freezer and left it on the counter. I have no idea what any of these things are. Well, a freezer is a big box that uses electricity to cool and freeze whatever you put in it. Food, spoons, people, the possibilities are endless. The egg came before the chicken. So what laid the egg? Something that hadn't quite evolved into what is considered a chicken. The final mutation that made a pre-chicken turn to a chicken was hatched from an egg. Edit. My new #1 post on Reddit is arguing the chicken versus egg question. Reddit is awesome. Whether Rose and Jack both could have fit on the door in Titanic. The fact that people are still insisting to this day that both of them could have fit on the door pisses me off so much. It's not about space. It's about buoyancy. Technically they could both fit, But you are correct, they would not have lived had they made that decision. Pizza Hut should not be called Pizza Hut because the building is not structured like a hut. Hobby Lobby puts stuff in the whole store, not just the lobby. No, they mean it like a verb. Bunch of Congress people bitching about macrame. They were on a break. They were absolutely on a break. I get why Rachel got upset. She's human. But they were broken up and Ross didn't break any rules. Not only were they on a break, but it was a ducking idea. Open face sandwiches are not sandwiches. It is a misnomer for a piece of bread with a pile of ingredients on it. If you want it to be a sandwich, put another piece of bread on top. I am open to things like hot dogs being sandwiches, although I personally don't think they are, but I will not tolerate the idea that open face sandwiches are sandwiches at all. But a hot dog is just an open face sandwich that's folded. That's like saying a taco is a tostada that's been folded. About how in The Devil Wears Prada, all of Andy's friends and her boyfriend are shit people with shit attitudes. Especially the boyfriend. I thought he was a total beach on his birthday, like boohoo. You're an adult and not every birthday is this big bash. Your girlfriend comes in with a cupcake and a candle and you act like a little turd nugget. Mr. Rogers did not have tattoos and he was not a sniper in the Marines. I have sources and everything. Bob Ross on the other hand. He was a drill instructor, then he just vowed not to yell anymore after he left. What constitutes a grilled cheese? If it's anything other than cheese and bread, it's a melt, you ducking heretics. Is cream cheese and cinnamon buns a grilled cheese? Edit. Is a quesadilla a grilled cheese sandwich too? About how I shouldn't be an organ donor because I need to be intact after I'm dead in case I come back as a zombie. I want to be a runner, not one of the shamblers that moves slow due to missing pieces. You can run faster with less organs because you're lighter. Holy shit, I'm gonna have to rethink this. Fish and chips is a hands food. I agree. Fish and chips should be eaten with hands, standing up, directly from newspaper near the seafront, in conditions that would make hardened sailors think twice. However, add mushy peas to the meal and we got problems. Then it's a sit down job with a plate and at the very least a wooden fork. Do you eat the fish with your hands? I feel like the chip is a hand food, but the fish? Whatever. I'm American, so I'll just assume I'm wrong about this. What kind of bear is best? Well, there are basically two schools of thought. False, black bear. That a hamburger is a sandwich, and a hot dog is not. I will not, however, stoop to arguing about a grilled cheese. Grilled cheese? A grilled cheese? What? I, for one, support radical sandwich anarchy. I literally just had an argument with a friend over how old Obi-Wan was when he died on the Death Star. Whether or not humans can see more than 60 Hz, open bracket, we can. Play a 30 frames per second game, then hop to a 140 FPS game. If you still argue we can only see 30 frames per second, you're in denial. Putting ketchup on a hot dog, I shouldn't have to argue about it, but for some reason people get super bent out of shape that I do it, as if it hurts them somehow, and duck people. Edit. The amount of attention this comment is getting just kind of proves my point. Really? People think this isn't a thing to do? Because of mustard. Ice cubes have no place in milk. The person that does this is the same person that puts water in their cereal. I'd definitely argue about which way the toilet paper roll goes on the holder. The toilet paper should go over, makes it easier to grab. If the toilet paper unrolls under the roll closer to the wall, it's a tad more difficult. The split between Blood Elves and High Elves in World of Warcraft has no basis in lore and only exists because Blizzard forgot they had High Elf Alliance heroes. Going to edit my comment because I didn't expect anyone to actually read it. The split I'm referring to is the one that came post the Burning Crusade with the Silver Covenant in Dalaran. I don't think they forgot it so much as they just wanted Horde to have a pretty race. Lord be damned. They just wanted Horde to have a pretty race. Lord be damned. I don't understand. The Tauren already exist. Ed. Breakfast is the first meal of the day regardless if it's a shitty sandwich or a steak and eaten at 8 at night. Blood has been shed over this. It's GIF, as in goat. Hard G. I don't care what the shitsucker who created GIFs says. It's an acronym. Thus hard G. Don't be stupid. The old GIF versus Dumbuses who call it GIF debate. A classic that I will always get read, mad, and nude online about. Sandwiches. When you cut them, do they become fractions of a sandwich? Or separate, whole, smaller sandwiches? I'm a fractions man myself. If there is a difference between chili with beans and chili beans, my husband always asks me to make chili beans and I assume he means the crap his dad used to make, which is 90% bean with some meat and chili seasoning. Those are chili beans. So I said I'd rather not because I don't like chili beans. But I could make chili with beans in it, and he's like, yeah, that's the same thing. No, the hell it is not. Simple design choices like font or not aligning things properly. Just yesterday, I was arguing with my boss about using a versus an. Basically, the sentence started off with AS, E, C agreement. I changed the A to an. My boss made me change it back. I sent her an email from a Google link stating that an was correct, since S, E, C was pronounced SEC. If it had been pronounced sec, then A would have been correct. We work in a job for anal retentive people. Fruit salad. All fruits are delightful by themselves. Don't ruin it by mixing them together. I don't need my pineapples to be discolored and corrupted by the strawberries it's sitting next to, nor do I desire my grapes to be soggy and pruned by the moisture of the other fruits. I don't want a tangy banana, just get a fruit tray. Quite a few things about video games. I'm strongly opinionated. I have a question. Lighting or texture? I argue that shading and lighting are far more important to graphics quality than texture detail. Texture detail can always be improved, but goddammit, a good graphics engine running proper lighting and shading is supremely more important. Dark Side of the Moon is not the best Pink Floyd album. Animals is. Wish You Were Here. Worst movie of all time. I don't think there is any one answer to this question, but I will happily hear and present debate on the topic. Edit. The diversity of responses to this topic are why I love this subject so much. Every time you bring it up, you learn about new, terrible movies to watch. In BoJack Horseman, all of the animals must have identical compatible sexual organs. If they didn't, the amount of interspecies dating wouldn't make sense. Also, you'd have to develop toilets specifically for each individual species needs. I argued with my brother about this for several hours once. Drumsticks and pizza should not be eaten with a knife and fork. Killing baby Hitler is not the correct thing to do to stop the Holocaust, and would probably make things worse overall. Also, killing babies is wrong. Even a Hitler baby. The earth isn't flat. It's dumb because some people still believe it is. I pour my cereal first and then the milk. Don't give me your solid logical reasonings cause I don't need them. Wait, there are people who do milk then cereal? What the duck? That's ducking anarchy. My waifu is in fact not shit. You're right, shit is a real thing. https://en.m Wikipedia. Org wiki list of burn centers in the United States. I haven't considered myself a NASCAR fan since 2014, but I'll argue for hours with you over whether or not it is a sport, and that it actually requires talent. Edit. Added a word. I'd say if you consider a jockey an athlete, then a car driver is too, unless you consider the horse the athlete, in which case the car would be, not the driver. And when the athlete isn't human, I don't think it's a sport. I think AskReddit should allow users to use text in their posts. It's pointless not to allow it. Were you here in the days they did allow it? Every AskReddit post was just an excuse to share some personal opinion or story. Then all the comments were always about the story and not really answering the question. It's way better now, and the poster can just comment. Kid BUU is not stronger than Super BUU. He is simply more dangerous because he is insane. My friend Megan was over at my house one day. I had this brand new, amazing telescope I had just purchased from the as seen on TV section at CVS. Open bracket. Sarcasm implied. Anyway, it was broad day out and we were messing with it. She took the cap off the telescope and lost it, ate it, stole it. To this day I don't know what she did with the damn thing. Anyway, the whole thing was ruined and I had to throw it out. She claimed she never touched it and that I, in fact, I'm the culprit for the lost cap and potentially lost career in astronomy. To this day we find ways to accuse the other of taking the cap off, up to and including when she was in the ICU in an induced coma and I would approach her and whisper you took the cap off. Her BP would skyrocket because of her overwhelming guilt. Whether the thick blade grass found in countries with hot weather is better than the thin blade grass found in the UK. For the record, thick blade grass is better. Beans. Beans. The magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. The more you toot, the better you feel, so eat have beans for every more. My ex-husband said it like this. Would infuriate me. Dipshit. That doesn't even rhyme. It's every meal. I think that's the real reason we divorced. Dumbus. A political party can make it into the Israeli Knesset with only 3 seats. Everybody in the media will tell you 4 is the minimum. But they're wrong. Okay, fine. In order to get into the Knesset with 3 seats you need to get between 3.25% and 3.33% of the vote. And even then you'll be awarded a 4th seat 98% of the time. But it's totally possible to end up with only 3. I will type till my fingers bleed defending Frodo Baggins as a character and hero. So many people misunderstand him and say they hate him. 100% of the time their reasoning for hating him is absurd and show how much they are reaching just to hate something. Frodo goddamn Baggins is a hero, y'all. Sam is the real hero. Like, okay, I'm sorry you're limiting yourself to only being able to see one hero in a story at one time, but lem blow your mind for a sec. Multiple heroes. That's right. More than one to a story and all with different reasons for why they are heroic. Open bracket. Aragorn, Eowyn, Merry, Pippin etc. all did heroic as duck things. And I don't give a shit what Tolkien said about heroes in some of his letters. Frodo and Sam are heroes for varying reasons. Back to my boy Frodo though, he's the most selfless character I've ever read about. If I can find the post later I'll link it, but a write-up on Tumblr about Frodo and Sam had one sentence in particular that stood out. It went something like a pacifist and his gardener saved the world through love and support for each other, or something like that. Like neither Frodo or Sam are your typical heroes. Frodo especially, since he had a moment of weakness, where literally anyone would have, but he still completed the quest. His pitying of Gollum is the reason everything worked out in the end. Frodo specifically though sacrificed his life from the beginning. Of course Sam, Merry, Pippin did too to a degree, but Frodo and the decisions he made were extremely important considering he is the ring bearer. There were so many instances where you'd think he would give up or give in, but he didn't, and that's so unheard of for people who carry the ring for extended periods of time. He's just incredibly resilient and strong-willed. He risked everything for the home he loves, people he loves, and for Middle-earth as a whole, even if he didn't realize how huge his volunteering to carry the ring was at the time. I could type forever about him honestly. He deserves so much love and appreciation. He's a hero. End of story. Samwise would tell you to duck off for saying any different about Frodo. Just sing. There are only 3 Indiana Jones movies. Whoa. You made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.